All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Summoning Hour podcast number 45. Sorry, number 45. Tonight's guests are from Alfred State College's Esports program. Tonight we have John, the VP, Austin, the president, and Carrie, the social media coordinator. Say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
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 So, before we go into like the whole club aspect, I like to get to know the people behind the club. And so it'd be good if you all could do an introduction of yourselves and how you got involved with Alfred State's esports program.
I'll start first. I'm the president. I was the one who had the charge to get esports here on campus. I created the whole, with the help of the e-board, created the club here, pushed for it. We got it going. So I know the most ins and out of it because we just started it last year. So that's basically more about me. I'm the Overwatch coach as well, and I just enjoy video games in
Alright, I'll go. I'm John, vice president. So I basically went in over the summer. Austin found out about a test. Found
You're
out that they
coming in
were.
and out real quick.
Am I?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. Try again.
Alright, is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, sorry about that. So I'm John, the VP. I basically joined in over the summer when Austin messaged me saying that he found out about an organization called TESPA, who was running collegiate-based games, and us being huge fans of Overwatch wanted to start that on our campus. Started having a small group of people that played in collegiate-based Overwatch.
Nice and easy. What kind of history did you have with like gaming and esports prior to just the summer?
Before this, I had very little. I'm always into gaming, but not the competitive aspect of it. I always was just a fan of playing video games, playing story-based games. I would play Overwatch, but not on a competitive level until
Yes. Come,
Austin
follow
notified
me. Follow.
I gotcha. Okay, and how about you, Carrie?
All right. Yeah, my name is Carrie. I'm the social media coordinator here. I got into this. I was a huge Overwatch player during the summer. And then Austin and I were in the creative house in the college, and he was talking about it, and I'm like, that sounds very cool. I'd love to join a team. For currently, the Overwatch team didn't work too well for me, but I love the idea of it in general, and I wanted to continue to support it. So here I am. I joined the e-board in hopes to continue supporting it.
Awesome. So, I mean, this all sounds like you got ramped up pretty quickly between like John coming in the summer. Austin, Carrie, how long have you been going at the esports club?
We've been going since since the beginning of last semester, which we started then in August, really. Sometime of August, I started pushing with TESPA, became a chapter with them. That took 8 weeks. Got the school to give us computers after that, and now really this semester, so in like February, really started being truly a club and started actually truly competing. So we expanded into other games other than just Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's really impressive because I've been following your guys' progression on the NYXL Spring Rally, and you are in the top 4. So for a club that's just started and now you have what 638 cheers going for you, you must have been doing something right or been in the right neighborhood to get that going. What was like this?
Yeah. So with that, I have when I was doing TESPA, I met a lot of Overwatch players, got them to follow us. Like, I'm good at making connections with other teams. I made connections with some semi-pro teams, different things like that. They have been helping me out, helping us out. We have some plus inside of the club. We have a lot of members who are really dedicated to the esports club since it's so new that everyone is pushing so hard. We made these different posts, contacting a lot of different people that we know about this. So the community around at Alfred State is really trying to help us out with this. Is a big thing. Also, the fact that we have made connections to other colleges who are not in the New York thing, like out in California and different colleges that are willing to support us and put it on their Discord and stuff and their streams and help us out.
We also have incentives out more recently for people who do cheer for us. Like our current 600 cheers, we're going to be doing a 24-hour stream, and hopefully people will tune into that.
It sounds like you all have the social side of esports down. Like that's impressive to build up momentum and enthusiasm from the club from the ground up just back in August. You have the connections into the Overwatch scene. You have this obviously a great social media approach to everything and already pushing 24-hour streams and would you say that the social aspect is your premier feature of Alfred State?
I would say so because outside right now we have like 10 people right outside sitting in the right outside the door, always hanging out around the esports there. People are always coming down talking to us. So that's we try to push that. So we're trying to build a community instead of building a club. Trying to build a community around the esports here to show that hey, it can bring anyone around in on Alfred State together to play and have fun instead of just playing competitively. We're trying to build the fan base around it so that when we actually start playing really well, we have a fan base cheering on the teams.
It's nice to have people supporting us. Honestly, the school's been really cool about it and have been pretty much on our backs the whole time supporting us, and it's been really.
So what has that support been like? I mean, it sounds like that there's an esports area already. It sounds like they're all on board. I mean, you got a club up and running. Through whatever process your university runs to get clubs formalized and supported. Like, what else have they been doing? Like, do you have a faculty member involved, or are they really coordinating with you? Are they throwing like actual fundraising support behind you?
Yes. At the moment, we have a faculty member as like the head of the club, Steve. He has already gotten us into a competition currently going on this weekend for our Overwatch and League of Legends team. We're going to Albany for that. So they're supporting us they're helping us fund that. Like some of the players have to help also. Like we're paying a little, but the school is giving us the funding to go to the events. The faculty are helping us get into the events. It's a lot of help, especially for the club being such a new club.
I've got to imagine that that's had to have brought in some hurdles. One, just because it's esports and not everyone is attuned to what esports really means. But then you're throwing money at something that everyone else is saying, do this. But how much familiarity did the university have before you all ran in there? It was saying we should do that.
So with that, what happened was the year that we brought it up was the same time that they just started to do a exploratory committee into esports. And so when I brought it up to Spencer and Skip, Spencer's the VP of student engagement here, and then Skip is our president. I brought it to them. I was invited to join this committee, the exploratory. So I helped explain what esports was, and we basically accelerated their plan. They were going to try to do it in like 3 years from down the line. With the fact that we already had an Overwatch team performing and doing really well, we were able to accelerate it to this year. Get the computers, the room that we have, all the chairs and all that to accelerated due to the fact that I help explain and the e-boards help explain to the faculty what esports are and how it does not actually hurt grades and stuff like that. It actually builds a community, and that's what big thing Alfred loves, is a community.
And we're really, really pushing for people to have their grades up. In fact, we were just talking about making sure the GPA requirement is that of other clubs. I believe we talked about 2.5. So we encourage people to keep their grades up in order to make sure they maintain both their academic and esports. Um, Academic is, of course, the most important. But having the esports club on the side, honestly, is a sort of incentive to do better.
That makes a lot of sense. I think it would be all too easy to lose sight of why all the students are actually attending school. if they were just so focused on esports. And I love hearing that the students are kind of leading that charge in terms of accountability and education first. Was that something that was at the forefront of your minds when the club really got started, or was that something that you had to think about once you started seeing that explosion of involvement and how much people wanted to be kind of all about the club?
We at first started just playing because we didn't think of it joining as a club. But when we started realizing that what the school is giving us, we realized we can't let grades fail. We have to make sure that everything is what the school sees and show. We have to show them that we're not just here playing games, having fun. We are having fun, but we're here for school, and that is the major thing that we were concerned about, to show to the school that they're giving us all this. We're not going to let it just all drop and fail.
And that's great. I mean, they're already there kind of watching, and you're being aware of it, like that you can't ask for anything more from a program so new. So what's the next short-term goal? You've got the community, you're starting to have some of that competitive goalpost making just with your Overwatch team, and other than your League of Legends team, like I'm assuming that that's kind of it right now. You might have some more casual teams going, but in terms of competitive edge, like is that where that next goal is, like making sure that Alfred State is known for its competitive teams?
Yeah, that's so the big thing on our next goal now is, since we have the base, is try to build off of that and start actually trying to get into these bigger tournaments and forming at the highest level. So like we're trying to do, like we have a siege team, but no one really does siege like tournaments. So we decided, okay, no one does siege tournaments. Let's host our own. So that's something we're gonna try to do. Try to start hosting our own tournaments here. Trying to make where Alfred is a centerpiece of the esports collegiate scene. We are the ones leading the charge in making sure every game is represented equally within the esports scene. All the ones we had, like a Smash thing, we were trying to make big Smash tournaments. We have one April 12th coming up that we're trying to we're trying to invite other colleges to, so that we can bring in people to show, like, hey, yes, we have all these big names, but we also have these smaller competitive games that we should represent and have at a high level. So we're trying to expand and also try to be a centerpiece for esports.
How do you attribute your ability to move so fast? Because you just started. Like in all honesty, it seems like you just started. August was what, 6 months ago, something like that, and now you're talking hosting events, hosting tournaments, moving on to competitive, and then you have 600 followers already watching your Overwatch team and supporting them. Like that kind of growth is nuts. And how do you claim to have kept up with that speed? It seems breakneck to me.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm thanking Austin a lot for that. He was
Yeah,
there on top of everything for that.
he's a go-getter. He's up front. He's ready to get things done. Um, this man needs more sleep. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you right now, he's always trying to push this club forward, and I honestly respect him.
Think is really, I do, like, this is my full-time job. I know it's a club for me for it, but I do 40 hours a week for this thing, and that's the big thing is I'm trying to push it, make it big, and trying to make this something really important for the campus. I'm really proud of what we have accomplished, and I would like to keep pushing for it. So that's why I make sure when I do something, the people I get around me are willing to actually push the same amount of work in. So all our e-board members understand how much work I want out of it. So everyone is putting in the time that we need to make sure we can expand it and keep growing as fast as we want, and keep going so that we can become a premier thing on in New York.
I know I was really impressed when I was talking with Carrie over Twitter and just being like, oh, she's going to go talk to the e-board. Okay, great. There's some coordination, they're getting together. And I've heard of other kind of structures like that. And that was cool. And people being like, okay, we'll go talk to the group and everything. But this had that sense of formality that I hadn't quite gotten from other folks. How structured are you guys? And like, what's the team structure like? What is that?
So I would like, since don't see this as a club, I see this as an organization, and due to that fact, everyone at eBoard understands that we're trying to make this professional. So we're running it like a esports organization. So everything is, you have to do it the proper way. You follow all the procedures. If we have like, we just made our public relations person made a form that is for media release forms. We're doing travel forms. So everything is that we're making sure what an actual company would do, we are doing, so that therefore we are practicing good practices and understanding how to run a professional thing. So it's really formal. Everything is trying to be run proper. So there's no way, because if you don't do it proper, it's going to fall apart. So the big goal is to make sure when we leave, there's a great foundation. So we're trying to run it proper to make sure it continues.
I take my position very seriously. I always try my best to make sure things are done and done as fast and as efficient as possible. Um, because like I said before, um, I I like the idea of this club. I want to help support it, and just my morals personally are that of okay, I signed up for this position and therefore it is my job, so I will take care of it and I will do my best at my position.
And it all comes through. It comes through loud and clear. Just in the first 5 minutes I was talking to you all, and the time I was talking with you, Carrie, on social media, like that, it comes through loud and clear for certain. Now, it sounds that you are up and running like a business, like an organization, like you said, Austin. What's the inspiration for this, and how do you get to that level so quickly? I'm assuming most of you haven't worked at a large corporation or been in a presidential kind of role or even like a VP role. How do you understand this construction already?
It's a lot of learning on the fly. That's a big thing for a lot of us. We learn on the fly. The first 2 weeks, 3 weeks were really rough for us. Like there was a lot of issues that we hammered out. So we sat down. We had a big meeting that was 2 hours, and we handle all the issues. So when issues arise, we all sit down as a team and make sure the issues that we were having are solved, and we move forward from that. So since we don't, like you said, we never been in a position like this before. We are learning on the fly, trying to look at different companies, different esports organizations, Opic, FaZe, New York Excel, all these different organizations that have been made before us. We're trying to emulate them, but still put our own twist on it and make it known that it's Alfred State and that we're not just emulating someone. So that's the big thing. We're trying to learn on the fly. Basic is the big thing.
I was going to say we learn by looking at what has worked with everyone else in the past and saying, okay, something small went wrong here. Try to fix on that, but we should follow the structure that have been given to us.
There's like a president, I guess. Sort of like the fact is this isn't something they teach you in high school. It's something that you have to pick up and try your best to adapt, I guess, adapt to the situation.
Absolutely. I mean, this the skills that you all are displaying and that the clubs across the country or even from Glasgow that I interviewed a few weeks ago, like you're all college students. You're all trying to choose a path to go down, and you're already exhibiting so many skills that I wish I've worked with professionally. And so it gives me so much hope for everyone coming out of college to know how to get into the games industry or esports industry or really even any sort of software development. Like it gives me so much like optimism for everyone going forward that it's just really impressive. And that's what I keep finding from California to New York to New England. Like it's always been super professional. Even if a club was just starting out and they were getting their feet underneath them, they were all about, we know what we need to do next and we have this plan. And you mentioned, Austin, you mentioned having a twist instead of just emulating other clubs. I'm curious what that twist is for Alfred State.
So what we are trying to do, most clubs, esports clubs, are usually, you have noticed, they are solely focused on competitive play. We would like to try to make sure we foster a casual community. So what we're trying to do is working with another club on campus, Games Nation, and help develop them more and help them along to make sure everyone is kept playing casually and having fun. We a big thing is we noticed that most, yes, they are focused on that, but also don't really focus on academics. So we have study sessions, required study sessions for our players. These things are we trying to do to bring that twist in, like, okay, people require GPA, but how can we push that even farther and add something on top of it that would help people? Those things are what we're trying to do, and also trying to go on to different events and then bring those back and then add that to our own events, do big events here. So that's the big thing we're trying to do.
So what's the worries that you have? I mean, you kind of mentioned making sure that you have that great foundation underneath you by the time you all roll out, and the club has to be able to bear that attrition. What's the worry that you have of getting there?
I'd say the worry would basically be how we uh, how we ensure that when we graduate, that the foundation we left doesn't drop and only improves from where we left it. Because obviously, we're where we are right now. We know what's going on. People don't know the work that goes behind it. Like the members of the team, they come, they play, they practice, but there's a lot more work behind it, like finding the organizations, finding the teams, a bunch of different things. And my biggest worry is for when Austin graduates, all the connections he makes and all the connections the team makes when they graduate dropping.
That makes a lot of sense. Thankfully, like colleges have the alumni program that really help keep those connections close. So I'm hoping that's one avenue that we haven't really had to see get tapped into from a number of esports clubs is that alumni association, because most clubs, I mean, even Robert Morris started what, 3 years ago? So someone who was there from the beginning may not have even graduated by the time that club started announcing their varsity program and having scholarships. So we haven't necessarily seen how the alumni association has come into play with esport clubs. I'll be curious to track that over the next few years. But what's your all plan for after you graduate? How much are you going to stay in contact with Alfred State and its esports program?
So with that, I already am developing a list of different all my contacts, and then once like just before I graduate, I'm gonna introduce whoever is elected as the next president. I'm gonna have them sit down with me, and I'm gonna go to every contact that I have ever made, and have a meeting with the person that I made the contact with, explaining what's going on, saying this is a new person that's coming up on being the president. We would like to continue working with you guys. Can we have a meeting so that we can keep this contact going along? And my goal is to see if when I graduate, instead of just leaving, to see if I can convince the school to hire me as a full-time employee or something along those lines for the club. Don't know that's going to be possible, but I think that would be nice to help along so that some people, since I already have all the connections, I could, instead of just leaving, building this, and then just leaving, saying, well, I did all this, I graduated, I guess I can't be part of this community anymore that I have built from the ground up. I would like to stay here and help continue building. Is at least my goal.
My biggest thing is I'm part of the Excelsior, New York Excelsior grant. So I'll either have to pay that off, which I'm probably not going to go for. Student loans, a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be around in New York for some time. But even after that, I do want to go see the world because I've always had a fascination with what else is out there. I want to be an animator. But I was actually just thinking about recently, what am I going to do with Alfred when I leave? Um, and I actually was thinking about starting a personal project. I'm not going to go too into it because this is about esports, but I want to start a gallery here. I've just been recently thinking about, and I'm like, okay, maybe I could stop in once a year or so, and that would allow me to check in and see how well the esports is doing, and that would be a nice thing to do if I was able to.
Absolutely.
For me, it's be like in the future when I graduate, I do want to come back. I want to make sure everything's running correctly. Uh, I want to be able to ensure that everything's running correctly even after I am gone and after Austin and Carrie and all of us are gone. I want to just anything that we've built, I don't want coming back and saying what we've created has failed. I want us to keep on striving, keep on going.
This is the first time that I've heard multiple people say they're going to come back, that they're going to like really double down on that. It's a little surprising to hear how many people put all of this passion and trust into the organization for the years that they're there at the university, but then they kind of walk away, or they're like, I want to go into a professional esports scene, or I'm just going to be done with esports and games and I want to go off and do something else. So it's even more heartwarming to hear you all just wanting to be like, even once a year, just come back and check in and be like, I still care about this. So I imagine the alumni association is going to love you guys, and I imagine that the club is going to enjoy having you all come back and visit, and being able to keep those contacts from you, Austin. Like, that's a level of attrition that many other colleges don't have to worry about, because they're just getting started. They don't have those well-built relationships, but to lose those and the knowledge behind the club as well, that's a hefty hit to take to the club for sure. In terms
That's
of
honestly surprising to hear. I thought if anyone joins in the esports, they'd be like, that's like the once in a lifetime thing for most people. It's something they would always want to jump on. I don't understand why anyone would say, "Oh, I'm done," whatever.
Yeah, no, I think it's super surprising every time I hear that. It's and to hear about some of the level of passion that these people put in and the hours that they're putting in. I mean, Austin, you are not alone in saying that you put 40 hours into this. And there's tons of people who are like, yeah, I'm a graphic designer. I'm going to do this and that and just keep going. And they basically make up double for the two or three other people who I hear are leaving after they graduate. And that's surprising to me, given especially the amount of community and connection people have to the games that they're supporting. But I mean, that's how it works. Like, some people are getting their degrees in different things that don't even relate to technology or games industry or really even production of things. I think, and that's one of the most appealing things to me about collegiate esports, is that you get all the degrees. You get business majors, you get art majors, you get communications, you get social studies, you get anthropologists, you get the whole breadth. Like, whatever degree your school offers, you have someone. I've had two podcasts, I think it was even back to back, where there was a person going for their meteorology degree. Right?
That sounds fun.
Right? And then they're just like, yeah, after this, I'm done.
That seems the farthest thing from esports. That's fun.
Right? And I mean, it's fun for them. They get a lot of enjoyment out of it. They're joining the community, and they see that as that's how they want to be involved during the time while they're at college, and then they're done. Nothing wrong with that, but that passion and that level of involvement, I thought, would have kind of grown into something more. And so to hear that there's this a pretty decent level of churn of people who come in and go out, that's really interesting to me, and I would be curious to find out why that's the case. Whether or not people think of it as a realistic career choice or a career path, I don't know. It's something I want to dig into, but it sounds like you all are going to be in esports going forward. Carrie, like, you're going to do your art thing and have your gallery kind of deal, but sounds like you'll still be in touch with esports and make that a kind of a part going forward until sometime farther down the road.
I hope so.
Part of the reason why I think people like get burned, people get burned out right now due to the fact that, like you said, multiple. I'm not the first one you heard that said they're doing 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
That's something that I think is an issue in the collegiate esports scene right now, is that the schools rely too much on their club members, everyone in the club, to do the work for the club and try to continue building basically an athletic department. They expect the students to put in the work to make an athletic department and thrive, and they will say, well, if you do well, we throw money at you. If you don't do well, we won't throw money at you, which is why all these students are so willing to put in so much work and time into these things because they know, okay, well, if we want esports to work here at our campus, we got to prove to the school that it will work. So they throw all of the work in and all of the energy into it, and then they get burnt out when they leave, and they're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore because I put so many hours into this already as volunteer work, and then they just get burnt out from that feeling of like the school is using them.
I would be shocked if Austin drops like that. Honestly, you're always just pushing and striving for more for the club.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a couple clubs. I believe, off the top of my head, I'm gonna probably botch one of these, but I'm pretty sure is Northeastern University and Oklahoma University. Both of them have limited number of practice hours and limited hours in which that they can use their dedicated practice space. So they can only do so much. That's kind of, it's not policed, but it is kind of enforced that they only have so much time to put into this. Now, it wouldn't stop anything from like the social media management when you're back in your dorm room on your laptop or on your computer or phone even. So it can't stop that, but they do have a certain degree amount of watching what their players are doing to try and discourage burnout and discourage people from overworking themselves. And I think that might be a policy that you see coming in as more of these programs mature and they want to make sure that they're taking care of things, because this is burnout in collegiate esports, burnout in professional esports, or even just once you graduate, that's putting in 16 to 18 hours a day grinding solo queue and putting your body, putting your mind, and stressing yourself out to the ends of which you are already going beyond your limits to do that amount of hours working that hard. So same story, same symptoms, just different execution, and it'll be interesting to see how collegiate esports kind of help police that and keep that in control, while professional esports I think needs to grow into those shoes because they're still figuring out what a professional scene looks like and how those professional teams should be treated.
That's something I completely agree with. Like, you, just a symptom with the whole esports industry right now. Is this thing is so, since the whole industry is so new, no one has developed something that is a standard yet. So no one knows the standard. Everyone is trying to figure out that standard.
It's a trial and error system. You can't really be 100% sure until you dip your feet into it.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't you can only foresee so many problems. Like you saw the problems with growing so fast and involving the school when they had a 3-year plan, and here you are accelerating it to 2 months kind of deal. So you can only anticipate so many problems, and burnout, while it was at the professional level, I kind of see collegiate esports as like a year or two behind professional. So you have a little bit of warning, but that's not much time to anticipate and react and pre-plan to preemptively coordinate against those things. So, I mean, it's a necessary hit in terms of growth, but I figure someone's going to come out with the right way to manage that. And part of the problem is that there's not a strong governing system around collegiate esports. You have NACE, you have TESPA, you have NCAA kind of doing their investigatory type work, but they're not involved quite yet. And then you have the other kind of one-off leagues, kind of collegiate R6, collegiate Apex Legends, the CSL, all of those groups trying to run their thing, but no one's really coordinating across all the schools. Everything's a little bit different. What's the plan? Like, you all are involved with TESPA, but there's different games coordinated against the CSL and NACE. I'm curious, where does your kind of loyalty lie in terms of those groups?
So right now, our big partner is TESPA, but with the HB GamerCon, that is sponsored by the ECAC, so the East Coast Athletic Conference, and we're thinking the school and the school and the club are thinking joining that conference as well with some of the other games that they offer. We're looking into League of Legends, join the LCS, and then we're trying to expand multiple. We're trying to see which ones are the best like leagues we should join. Like we're also going to join. So we just started a Siege team up. We're looking into like you said, the one-off Collegiate 6. So we are trying to join as many leagues as we can. and test them out. And we may not stay in them, but we at least have an option to test it out to see how it works.
We're also trying to get some sponsorships, perhaps. Not going to go too into that, just looking in getting to some companies and being like, hey, do you want to sponsor, let's say, our Overwatch team here at Alfred? But we're still looking into that and don't have too much details.
Sure. I mean, it comes with time, but I mean, with the size of your club and organization and the amount of already very public publicity that it has, especially from the NYXL event that's gone kind of crazy on Twitter, I don't imagine you'll have much of a hard time getting that, especially if you're already showing promise in Overwatch specifically. How's your other team doing, the League of Legends team?
We just started them, so their first tournament will be this HV GamerCon. That will be their first test in action for them. So we don't know how they're doing. From what I have seen, because I don't understand League of Legends. I will admit that I don't understand it. But from what I have seen,
either.
and from what I have talked to their coach, they're pretty confident in their abilities. They feel like they're one of the top teams, just like how our Overwatch team is one of the top teams.
That's intimidating for you all to come out swinging and being with the heavy hitters. Like, you can only go down from this point if you're already in one of those top teams. So the pressure's got to be there. What's it going to be like on campus when the team achieves success, like notable success by winning the tournaments or placing well at the NYXL Spring Rally? What's the student life going to be like?
The people who know about the esports, like all the people who know about the friends, all those people, and our fans will go crazy, and the school will go crazy because the school will the school can use it as a thing to say, hey, we did this, look how well we're doing. Their big thing is they want to be known for esports. Alfred State, the administrators are trying to make sure that Alfred State is known for esports. Their goal is right now. SUNY Canton has 9. You type in a SUNY school, SUNY esports. The first 9 Google searches will be SUNY Canton. Alfred State want to take over SUNY Canton to be known as the esports college. Is the whole goal of the club and the goal of the college. So this would be a great boon to us and will greatly help the whole ideal of the club is trying to become the number one.
Is that other college like a local college rival?
Yeah, more or less, yes, it is, because we have a show match with them. April 5th, we're going to go up to SUNY Canton, which is up in the Adirondacks, so up near Canada in New York, and we're going to see if we can beat them, because they're both in the SUNY system, which is the SUNY system of the State University of New York. So it's a state college. And so we're trying to be competing with them. They are a rival. We would like to be a number one.
I'm loving these esports rivals showing up. I mean, there was the Mountain Division tournament that came together and ended last week. That was for League of Legends, and then the what was it? The Egg Bowl between Ole Miss and Mississippi State.
Oh, I saw that one.
Yeah, I watched that on Twitch, and like best of 7 or 8 games, and it's between 2 rivals, and the Egg Bowl goes back like almost 100 years, and in terms of their football programs, and so it's like now the esports are getting in on that. I love that rivalry history, and even starting up new ones just because esports builds something else. Now, is SUNY kind of on the comparable size and divisioning, or are you kind of punching above your weight when you want to challenge SUNY?
So we are also a SUNY college because they're all like the SUNY system is the system of state colleges of New York.
Gotcha. Okay, so
they're
Kenton.
They're equal to our size.
And how big is that? I'm not familiar.
My college is like 3,500 students. We have 3,200 students, so we're right around that. We're not small, like we consider ourselves a medium to small size school.
I'd say medium for the most part. There are colleges with way less than that amount and colleges with way more. So it might be my personal opinion, but I find what Austin to say medium to small in between there, probably.
And now, actually, that starts another trend that I've been seeing is that the smaller colleges, kind of like not the like massive state colleges that have like 30 or 40,000 students attending class every day, but like the ones on the smaller side, they've definitely been a lot more aggressive when approaching esports, and I have to believe it's because of that kind of wild west land grab mentality of get out there, get ahead of everyone, get that attention, and show that you're doing things right. But there's also going to be those colleges that are like, oh, this is a quick buck. This is a quick way to recruit some students and just kind of throw them to the wolves because we don't really understand esports and they'll just kind of do what we say. It doesn't come across that way at all from your school. And I want to see how you think that other schools are going to get involved because I imagine there's other local schools that you want to get involved with collegiate esports, but how do you make sure that they start off on the right foot too?
So right now, we have a college right across. Oh, we have a college right across the street, AU. So that's a private college, and I'm already talking with them to make sure when they get interested, because there's some interest over there. I'm trying to help them create their esports club over there. It's going really slow for that one because there's not a big community yet around it. Like there's like 3 or 4 people interested in it. So we're trying to help them out through our club, showing them what we did, how they could talk to the administrators and get guidance through that way. And other colleges more of if they hear about us, they say, "Hey, that's really cool. Can you tell us how you start?" So more just really just spread word of mouth is how we're spreading it and explaining how we did it and how we feel like it should be done. So it's done the right way and not done like you said just for a way to get the college more students. That's done for the right way of trying to make it for the culture of playing competitively.
I know at one point someone came and talked to us about talking to a high school about collegiate esports or just esports in general. I know that it's a newer sort of thing, esports in general, and there are still several parents because this is super foreign to them. That we have to convince that not only that it's a sport, but that it's it's something that is not just rotting brains because I feel like that's what a lot of parents think. I find that people who join esports hone their reaction timing as well as a couple other important cognitive functions. And uh, I know since we talked about talking to those high schools, I know personally I would, and I'm pretty sure Austin and John both said that we'd love to go talk to those high schools or that would want us to come in and talk about the esports scene or even just helping them start an esports scene because everyone's not really a super fan of high school, and just having an esports team where you can get a bunch of high schoolers who don't really feel like they fit in, or maybe they do, but it's a way for them to connect and a way to interact and get more professional skills like you said we had in more earlier years to help them when they come to college. And I think that would be an amazing thing to have in high schools.
Real quick, I just want to mention it is 11:04 and we have to be out of this building at 12. Just want to let you know that. But I do want to also say I agree 100% with Gary. We have to try to prove to not just schools but to the family of these students that this isn't just a game. I remember being driven up here at the beginning of this semester, and the entire time I was trying to convey to my mother what esports is, what Overwatch is. She just couldn't comprehend that we're sitting here and we're playing against colleges on the other side of the U.S. or just all around the U.S.
Yeah, it's still a struggle. Like educating parents and educating families is a big deal. Like one of the esports coordinators from Boise State, he has had phone calls. He's gone and visited families and said, "We want to offer your student, your child, a scholarship to play," and the parents are just kind of dumbfounded. They're just like, "What, really? There's money in this? There's tuition in this?" And it's just it's where we're at right now. It's a new conversation for a lot of people, and when they hear esports, at least now they've at least been like, oh, is this that Fortnite thing, that fork knife thing? And so it makes sense that this is where we're at, and it's it's going to change. It's got to change. It's going to be bigger and bigger each year. I mean, we have the Dota International that makes headlines every year. We've got the League of Legends things that where the pictures are of the full stadiums in China outdoor and the AR experience that goes along with it. You've got Counter Strike. You've got Call of Duty. You've got the Overwatch League now. I mean, Philadelphia is building the $50 million studio
That looks
out in
beautiful.
Phil, right? Those concepts are amazing. I'm super jealous. I'm waiting for Seattle to get in the game, but who knows if they're ready. But it'll be impressive to see how that conversation goes, especially when high schools and middle schools start adopting this and you start having those peewee leagues of esports. So like elementary school, beginner kind of like Rocket League clubs and team sports and all that. Like that's going to be such an exciting time to see because then you'll have that adoption and understanding from the beginning of a child's life. And that's one thing I'm looking forward to. But I don't want to make you guys get locked in or get in trouble. So let's have you guys wrap up and do any shout outs that you want to do for the club, the faculty, your teams, whoever you want to talk to.
All
Shout
right,
out to
well,
Austin.
shout out to Austin. I wanted to say thank you for having us. Thank you for sending us the link, and thanks for the interview. And for anyone watching, go vote for the Alfred State Esports on the NYXL Spring Rally.
Yeah, and follow our Twitter. We have a Facebook page. And I also wanted to thank you so much for letting us do this. This has been a blast, and I didn't think we'd get an offer like this to go join a podcast so fast. And if you ever want to just talk to us ever again, let us know. Like, I loved it. I'm sure those two did too. So just let us know.
Austin's being coy.
Oh, so I was thinking, the three. I would like to thank like Spencer. He's the guy who got us this. He's been great help to us. He's our administrator here. He's just been so supportive of us. He's been pushing. He pushed the school to get us these equipment. Like there was some backlash for what he was doing initially, but he kept pushing through that and got us the equipment that we wanted. Let us decide what equipment we needed and things like that. Give us more hours in the room. People didn't really want us in the room to midnight. He helped us push through these things. He even got this event with us, which is with the people who made Mob Crush, one of the founders of that. Which Mob Crush is a streaming device for your mobile games, and he's coming out here to do a thing with a high school tournament. We're doing a high school tournament with local high schools, doing that, having a lecture with him, and then talking about the new game design club that we have in camp. So the whole, really, I'm just thankful that the faculty here understands esports and trying to make sure we can do it the right way and be very successful in it.
Yeah, shout out to Spencer. That sounds like an awesome dude. And Austin, you're crazy.
He is.
I know. I
You
know.
think we didn't know this already?
He's
I'm
very
just learning
crazy.
this. This is nuts.
Uh-huh.
Well, you guys,
He's a mastermind. He goes to the school and he's like, I want this. And they're like, okay.
there you go.
Yeah, basically.
Convincing and confident. That's all you need. Well, I want to thank you all for doing this podcast. I know it's very late for you, so just thank you again. Thank you for meeting with me, all three of you. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to hearing how your teams perform. And anytime you have an event going on, anytime there's big news around the club, feel free to shoot me like an audio recording, a text message, or we can coordinate something, do another mini interview. I'm happy to boost the signal. Take me up on that. I don't think anyone else really has, so you guys would get first dibs on extra time. I'm happy to do it. Happy to support the esports club. So anytime, and just thanks again for talking to me.
I will personally send you a photo this weekend in my Hanzo cosplay at the event we do.
There you go. Perfect. I'll share it on social media.
Would love that.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening and attending in chat. I appreciate it very much. And that's the end of the show. Thanks so much for coming out and listening. The podcast will go live on Monday. This will be recorded on anchor.fm/the summoning hour, and it propagates to 10 other platforms. So wherever you listen to your podcasts, it'll be available pretty much on all the convenient ones. So I appreciate the listens, appreciate the feedback. Feel free to reach out to me on social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, all the things really, at Warlock Recall. There you go. Well, I'm going to cut the stream, so I just want to say thanks again to our guests, and I will catch you all next time on the Summoning Hour.
Thank you. Bye.